morning. I'm Maggie Ruley.
And I'm Kenneth Moden. Here are the top 5 things to know this Wednesday. Number 1, another round of destructive tornadoes hitting overnight.
A twister hit just outside of Kansas City, leaving a trail of destruction and shredding homes in the path. The threat also extended to the northeast, with a tornado causing this damage outside of Philadelphia. And in New Jersey, classes are canceled today at a high school after a possible tornado damaged the building.
There have now been at least 8 tornadoes reported to the National Weather Service for 12 straight days, a new record.
Number 2, Nepal is defending the number of permits issued to climb Mount Everest this year.
Some blame overcrowding for causing this human traffic jam in the so-called death zone. 11 people have died this season. Nearly 400 permits were issued to climb the world's tallest mountain.
A tourism official there blames weather conditions, insufficient oxygen supplies, and equipment for the deaths.
On to number 3, Mackenzie Bezos is putting the wealth gained from her divorce settlement to very good use.
She says she has a disproportionate amount of money to share, so she has signed on to the Giving Pledge. The campaign urges the ultra-wealthy to give at least half of their fortune to charity.
Bezos' divorce agreement with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos gave her a 4% stake in the company worth $36 billion.
Not bad. Number 4 now, the TSA says it's making money off of forgetful flyers.
According to the agency, more than $960,000 was left behind at security checkpoints last year, mostly in change. New York's Kennedy Airport led the way with more than $72 grand.
I feel like that's ours. We should go get it. Well, the abandoned money actually goes into a fund for aviation security programs.
And finally, number 5, is this the worst ceremonial first pitch of the baseball season?
Here, take a look. That's a White Sox employee of the month on the mound right there. And
Bam.
oh, man. I mean, she did hit a target. She nailed the team's photographer, who was just trying to document the big moment. Of course, this allows us to bring back another worst first pitch ever. Oh, that's rapper 50 Cent before a Mets game about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, but look at him. He laughs it off.
Yeah.
He's like, whatever, I'm famous.
The White Sox are withholding the employee's name in hopes of sparing her the embarrassment. The photographer says he never saw the ball coming, and he says both he and that camera are fine.
Oh, good luck.
So we got to warm those pitching arms. Maybe I'll find out. That's why Maggie Ruley's behind me right now.
Are you ready for this?
I'm going to watch out.
All right, it's morning, America.
Good morning. So that's our question of the day. Was that the worst ever
Yes.
first pitch?
I think it may be.
50 Cent was pretty bad, though.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe that's
But
pretty
apparently
bad.
we got a list of others, and you guys
right,
can
let's
look
hear 'em.
these up on your own. Carly Rae Jepsen.
Mariah Carey.
She took a lot of heat
Yeah.
for her very, very poor pitch.
At least you have the confidence to go up there and be terrible, you know?
I don't want to go up there and be terrible.
Would you throw out the first pitch at a game?
Yeah, and I'd be awesome at it.
Guys, let's put this out into the universe. Kenneth and I want to throw the first
No,
pitch
just
out
me
at a
alone.
game. No, we said it together. No, together. We're a package deal forever and ever. Hi.
So tell us who was the worst in the comments, or tweet us at ABC News Live if you think Maggie Ruley's the worst.
No, that's
No,
not.
we don't edit it because we're not mean on social, right? We don't do that. We don't do that.
We're
But tell
supportive
us
here.
if you think 50
Also,
Cent or that White
guys,
Sox employee.
start the thing that, you know, be like viral and stuff. Have Kenneth and I throw out the first pitch somewhere. I'm really
Yeah.
excited about this.
It'd be very special.
Yeah, be a moment for us.
Also special, our big story of the day.
All
President
right,
Trump
let's get to it.
ramping up his attacks on former Vice President Joe Biden, apparently viewing him as the biggest threat in a crowded field of Democrats vying for the White House.
The president brushed aside criticism for taking aim at Biden while on foreign soil and for siding with Kim Jong-un. Now Biden is firing right back. So we're going to bring in ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi, who has the latest from Washington. Mona, we were just talking earlier. We can't believe we still have a lot of months until the 2020 election, and it is already nasty.
That's right, Maggie. Hey, Kenneth. We are more than a year out from the 2020 election, but already the Trump and Biden campaigns are giving us a preview of what the race could potentially look like.
In a crowded pool of Democratic presidential hopefuls, President Trump has zeroed in on one potential 2020 rival, former Vice President Joe Biden.
Joe Biden was a disaster. His administration with President Obama, they were basically a disaster.
The president taking his attacks abroad, using his historic state visit to Japan as an opportunity to slam his political rival, and breaking with long-standing tradition to keep domestic disputes off foreign soil.
Kim Jong-un made a statement that Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. He probably is, based on his record.
Those remarks earning Trump criticism from both sides of the aisle. Another 2020 Democrat, Senator Kamala Harris, on MSNBC, calling it irresponsible.
It is wrong, it is contrary to our values, and it is contrary to the best interests of our country.
The Biden campaign also firing back, saying the president's remarks were, quote, beneath the dignity of the office, and that Trump siding with a, quote, murderous dictator against a fellow American and former vice president speaks for itself. But in a tweet overnight, Trump says he was actually, quote, sticking up for Biden. This latest back and forth exchange comes as the Trump campaign is ratcheting up its efforts in key battleground states like Pennsylvania, where Biden grew up. At a rally there last week, President Trump told the crowd that Biden was born there, but later abandoned the state. In Houston last night, Biden set the record straight.
We moved from Scranton, notwithstanding the president saying I abandoned it, to find work. I was in third grade.
Now, President Trump narrowly won Pennsylvania back in 2016. Then 2 years later, Democrats flipped 3 House seats previously held by Republicans in the 2018 midterms. And ABC will host a 3rd Democratic primary debate in partnership with Univision. It's scheduled for September 12th and 13th. Maggie, Kenneth?
Mona, thank you. I can't believe we're going to be talking about this for
Yeah, we will.
a long time.
And Mona knows this as well, that with the way 2016 went, we're still talking about that.
Okay, fair enough, fair
So
enough.
even after 2020, we're still going to be talking about this. All right, Mona, thank you so much for breaking it down for us.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Other top stories. The Supreme Court has decided not to take up a challenge to a Pennsylvania school district's policy on transgender students. That means students in Boyertown, just west of Philadelphia, will be allowed to continue using bathrooms and locker rooms that correspond with their sexual identity. Students behind the appeal had argued that the policy violates their right to privacy. In
other news, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is making it clear any seat that opens up on the Supreme Court won't remain vacant even in an election year. After a speech in Kentucky, McConnell was asked about what he'd do in the event of a vacancy on the high court, and he said, quote, we'd fill it. But McConnell famously blocked President Obama's nominee, Merrick Garland. Everybody remembers him, Merrick Garland. That happened ahead of the 2016 election, saying the voters had a right to decide whether a Democrat or Republican would fill the opening.
I'm waiting for them to bring up that old footage if this happens again.
And they will, just like they brought up old footage of other politicians. I think Joe Biden said something, and so expect for that to happen again as well.
Yeah.
And the fight over abortion rights is heating up as more states consider restrictive new legislation. The
Supreme Court just weighed in on a controversial Indiana law. Louisiana appears to be on the verge of passing a so-called heartbeat bill. And ABC's Brad Melke tells us that Missouri is threatening not to renew the license of the state's only abortion clinic.
Hey guys, a representative from Planned Parenthood told supporters this is not a drill. They say the only licensed abortion clinic in Missouri could be shuttered next week. And that's really just one of a handful of cases that are being challenged in the courts right now. While Louisiana's Democratic governor prepares to sign a bill banning abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, that's before many women know they're pregnant, the Supreme Court made its own notable decisions on a different state law. ABC's Devin Dwyer covers the court, and he said this decision actually came in 2 parts.
This involved the 2016 Indiana law signed into law by then Governor Mike Pence that basically did a number of things restricting abortion access in the state, also setting some requirements on what to do with fetal remains. Now, the Seventh Circuit actually struck down the law, but the Supreme Court on Tuesday let part of that lower court ruling stand, basically meaning the Indiana ban on abortion solely on the basis of selective abortions. That ban remains invalid. It's not allowed to go into effect. But the Supreme Court did say that the state's requirement that fetal remains be treated like human remains, have to be buried and cremated, can go forward. And so that's a big development.
And what's really interesting here, he said, was this opinion from Justice Clarence Thomas, who seemed to signal to anti-abortion rights advocates that they would have a pretty good shot at further restricting abortions. Legal analysts have called this a roadmap for conservatives. We'll have a lot more on this debate on Start Here later this morning. Listen on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcasting app. Kenneth, Maggie?
Thank you, Brad. And now to a consumer alert about sunglasses. Do you know if yours have expired?
This is crazy. I did not know that sunglasses even could expire, but apparently they do, and it can be dangerous. Prolonged exposure to UV rays can damage the protective coating on some glasses. This typically happens just after 2 years. Now, there's a way to test your glasses. Here's what you do. You shine a UV flashlight against a $5 bill or higher, and when the watermark from the bill lights up, put the sunglasses in front of it. If it disappears, your sunglasses are still working.
And if they're not, just take all those dollar bills you just used for that experiment and buy some new sunglasses.
Right. That's a lot of sunglasses are expensive, and you're supposed to buy a new pair every 2 years.
Yeah.
Although we did some crowdsourcing in the control room, and no one here actually keeps their sunglasses for 2 years. They're lost, broken, sat on, scratched.
Yeah.
So maybe it's
all
something not a big deal.
Well, in Virginia, 20,000 pounds of Memorial Day trash have created tons of anger among Virginia Beach residents. Locals say the annual event called Flotopia left one stretch of beach littered with cups, food wrappers, and cans. A 9-person public works crew showed up and immediately left after seeing this. No, actually, they started to clean it up because that's their job and that's what they do. Even though it was only 9 of them, they could have used some extra manpower, definitely. There's usually just 1 ton of trash on a regular weekend.
Good reminder, though, all your trash ends up places. Beaches and seas are so crowded with nasty plastics.
So if you can, try to take some of that trash with you off the beach.
Or just reduce your plastic consumption.
The receptacles there.
As well.
Yeah, good
Fun
point.
facts. Saving the planet. Great.
Coming up, we'll go across the pond to the London Bureau.
Julie McFarlane will explain what's going on. It's a bizarre competition. We'll ask Julie about what's going on here.
Let's go across the pond now to Julia McFarlane in the London Bureau. Julia, good morning.
Hi, Julia.
You've been up following
Morning,
comments made overnight by National Security Advisor John Bolton in Abu Dhabi, who suspects Iran of targeting a key Saudi port in what he says was a failed attack.
Exactly, Kenneth. National Security Advisor John Bolton, he is, as you say, in the Emirati capital of Abu Dhabi. He is there during this heightened period of tensions between the Gulf nations, Saudi Arabia and the Gulf, and Iran. Now, he was speaking to journalists and he didn't elaborate much, but he said that that there was an alleged attack on this oil port city called Yanbu. Now, obviously, this is just the latest incident in a number of escalating incidents throughout this whole crisis. Remember, the U.S. has sent an aircraft carrier and 52 bombers to the region. It's deployed hundreds more troops, and there have been drone strikes from rebels in Yemen who are backed by Iran. So American allies in the Gulf, especially Saudi Arabia, have really been trying to illustrate how deep they perceive this threat to be.
Well, lots to follow. Thank you so much for catching us up, and I think we'll be following it closely as well. Moving on now to Malaysia, where the nation's last male Sumatran rhino has passed away. And Julie, I'm curious what this means for conservation efforts. The final male rhino seems pretty serious.
Yeah, so Sumatran rhinos, they're indigenous to Indonesia, but there were a couple in Malaysia, and what's happened is that the last male rhino in Malaysia has unfortunately died. They tried to pair him off with a female. White rhinos are among the most critically endangered species on Earth. I believe there's not any white rhinos in Africa anymore. And as for the Sumatran rhinos, there's barely 100 of them left in the wild, all now mostly in Indonesia. The US is actually involved in conservation efforts with Malaysia and Indonesia to try and help them. But the trouble is, the remaining rhinos, they are scattered across the jungle in Indonesia. They're unable to find each other for breeding. And a lot of this is because of deforestation, palm oil concessions. But conservationists, they've even tried IVF to try and boost numbers, and it just seems like they're fighting a losing battle. So it's really, really sad.
Yeah, sad indeed. And so we should lighten things up just a bit. Julia, so now and then, we need you to explain some British customs, the unusual, the different ways across the pond. And since you're the mouthpiece of the British people, we go to you for all of that.
I like that, Kenneth.
You like that?
I might put that on my
I
Twitter
want
bio.
So wait. Can you tell us what's going on in this video? Take a look.
Take a look. This is one. I mean, honestly, this is a huge source of national pride for me. I absolutely love. This is the annual cheese rolling competition. Now, it's been banned by officials for health and safety for obvious reasons. So this is an unofficial race, but look, you can still see hundreds of people spectating. Now, what they do is they roll wheels of cheese down an incredibly steep hill, and they chase after it, and the first person who goes down wins. Now, I just want to read out how the normally very highbrow and stiff upper lip BBC has been reporting the story online. A new champion has been crowned at the death-defying annual cheese rolling race. That is literally what it says. It's very unlike the BBC to use hyperbole. But there we go. So the cheese has chased 200 yards down a 1-2 gradient hill. Max McDougall, 22 years old, he is this year's race winner. I don't think they eat the cheese at the end when it's all covered in grass and muck. But they do. The winners always do hold their cheese wheels aloft and as they celebrate winning. But it's, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I think it just speaks for itself.
It really does.
I loved your description. So here's what they do. They throw cheese down a hill and then they run after it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
And you're
But
like,
in a very
I don't know why.
violent way.
I don't know why. I just know it's great.
Julia, explain all
Come
of that
over
and those
for it and take part.
and those British customs and ways. I can honestly say there is no one greater than you.
Oh, my friend,
He's speaking
thank
in
you so
hyperbole
much.
now.
Mouthpiece on a yes.
There's someone right now who gets my cheesy joke. All right, Julia.
Oh dear.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Mwah.
See you later.
Enjoy your cheese.
All right, let's check our notifications. Starting with a fugitive flamingo, the bird spotted 14 years after it escaped from a Kansas zoo.
That's insane. What's it been doing all these years?
Hanging out.
Just chilling.
Apparently they knew it was the same bird because it has a tag that's on its leg, and it was like Flamingo 492 or something. I don't know. I want to know where Flamingo 491 is.
Yeah, he's always pissed off. He's still stuck in the zoo. He's like, this dude just living his best life
Just
for
left
14
me,
years.
escaped, whatnot.
They found him in Texas.
In Texas.
That's,
So
I mean,
from Kansas to Texas.
Flew. He went a distance.
I thought, did they fly?
Actually, do they? Guys, we need help. Flamingos do fly. Okay, we've got that.
Oh, there we go.
We've been fact-checked. Flamingos do
They
fly.
do.
You're welcome.
Another
animal news.
Yep, we've been covering a lot of graduations recently. Here's one in Alabama with an unexpected guest. A dog.
A dog.
Yep, goes right up to that ceremonial table.
Oh
And
my gosh, he just
lets
released himself. You know, when you gotta go, you gotta go. Do you notice the guy second from the left who he was covering his face? And now we'll show you again.
Yeah.
That's his owner.
That's his owner?
Yeah. That dog is named Charlie.
That dog said, I have to wee-wee,
Charlie
and I'm
the
going to do it
dog.
on this bush right
Charlie
here.
the dog. Yeah, that guy who's just holding his face. He's like, oh shoot, my graduation now, February with Charlie's urine.
Well, at least
It's a good memory.
that doggy didn't get it on.
He so doesn't care, that dog either. He's like, what else? Good for you. All right, we'll take a look at this one. This is a crazy video. That's a rocket, a Russian rocket, and it's trying to take off, but look, lightning comes out of the sky. That's insane. Now, could this be the origin story for the next big Marvel superhero?
Thor comes back.
Thor 2.0.
And Thor, maybe this time, is in shape.
Oh,
that is not a spoiler because you should have seen it by now.
Whatever, Thor is always amazing.
Yeah, but that rocket went on.
Yeah, that's what the crazy part is. Like, the rocket got hit by lightning in 2 different parts of the rocket, and it still completed its mission in low orbit.
Pretty cool. And if you saw this man climbing the Eiffel Tower last week and thought it looked like fun, here's an opportunity for you now that you can zip line off the tower. So we reported last week that a man, like, he scaled it, went all the way up it,
but now you can zip line?
and now you can zip line from it.
Oh
about
my God,
56 miles per hour. It's on the 2nd floor of the Eiffel Tower there. So you're
I wonder how long the line
top.
is to sign up for that. I feel like everyone's going to want to zip line off the Eiffel
Hopefully
Tower.
not as long as Mount Everest because
true.
it's always happening there.
Oh, that's fun. I would do that. Would you do that?
No, I would not.
What? That looks awesome. All right, guys, let's all go. It's Morning America, our first live remote. Wait, oh my God, look at this flip.
That is
Kenneth, tell us what it is.
quad front flip with a half twist.
What?
I knew that because I just watched him do it.
I know. Guys, he's reading right now. Kenneth
Pretty
read
cool
it.
there, that gymnast.
This is the first time this flip has ever been recorded on camera, and many believe the first time it's ever been completed in the world.
That's pretty cool.
That looks like he's dizzy.
Yep.
I'm dizzy. All right, coming up, more than 500 students who are competing for TOPDOG. What's that spell?
Top dog.
Top dog.
We're going inside day one of the National Spelling Bee. Will Gans will spell it all out for us after this.
Here's what to watch out for today. The new Star Wars Galaxy's Edge area at Disneyland will be dedicated in a ribbon-cutting ceremony ahead of Friday's opening. It will be home to the longest ride ever at a Disney park, as well as a full-sized replica of the Millennium Falcon, an X-Wing, and TIE Fighter. Disney is the parent company to ABC News, and I am very excited to go see this.
Meanwhile, in a galaxy not so far, far away, cosmonauts on the International Space Station will take part in a spacewalk to retrieve science experiments and conduct maintenance.
Science. And President Trump will participate in the swearing in of the president and chairman of the board of directors of the Import-Export Bank. And Hillary Clinton is due to speak at the commencement ceremony for Hunter College in New York.
Plus, don't forget to tune into the debrief for an update on all our top stories and the briefing room for a breakdown of the latest headlines in politics. 562 of the world's sharpest spellers are gathered near the nation's capital.
And this morning, they're recovering from round one of this year's Scripps National Spelling Bee and our own resident scholar.
Oh.
I dropped the R because it's fancy.
I forgot my monocle. I feel like I should have something to make me seem.
Spell monocle.
MONOCLE.
I don't even know if that's right.
Like monocle.
Don't check
Can
it.
we get a fact check up in here?
We don't want mono around here.
Let's go ahead and move past that.
Control room says it's good.
Spell it out for us, Will.
All right, 8 months ago, 11 million spellers in classrooms across America and beyond began their journey towards the Scripps Spelling Bee Championship. And today, the brightest young minds took the final steps towards taking that top prize.
Can you spell competition? 562 youngsters from all 50 U.S. states, and some making the trek from far-flung places like the Bahamas, Germany, Ghana, or Japan, using whatever techniques they can to spell their words correctly. Christina drawing the words out on her hand. Julia with the classic card spelling trick.
M-A-K-O, Mako.
But this year, more kids like Ashan typing the words into their palm as if there's a cell phone there. A sign of the times, perhaps. And some of the example sentences also getting a more modern 2019 update. Listen to this one for the word topsy-turviness.
As in, Michelle contemplated hiring Marie Kondo to straighten out the topsy-turviness of her office, but ended up opting for a cheaper local option.
But for some, these first prelim rounds of the bee, spelling disaster. That bell signaling the end of this year's journey, but other spellers having an easier go of it.
Labradoodle.
The dog breed?
Yep, I
All right.
have a Labradoodle.
Nice. All right, Labradoodle. Wait, hold on. My mom wanted me to ask you all of the information.
Proof, that kids really do say and spell the darndest things.
So at the end of day one, we're down from 562 to 490 spellers, and the competition will pick up later this morning when those incredible young people will spell their way closer and closer to the championship and that $50,000 prize. Can you spell cha-ching?
Wait, is this a test? Hold on.
You got it.
Yeah, I did
You
it.
got it.
You got it.
The pressure is on for those kids.
I know. Is there a word that y'all have difficulty spelling?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Orange.
What do you got?
Orange.
Orange. I can never spell it. Because here's why. This is like a really
Tell the
terrible
people. Tell
Maggie
them.
story. Everyone gather around, friends. The one time I ever cheated on a test in my life. I remember it perfectly. Second grade, Miss Campbell's
Take away
class.
that diploma.
I know. And
Statute of limitations.
the word orange was on our spelling test, and I couldn't remember how to spell it. I'm getting nervous. So I cheated, and the karma has gotten me to this day. I still cannot spell that dang word.
Well,
it haunts me.
Aren't you glad she told us that story? What do you got, Will?
Aren't you glad?
That was really good.
Thank you.
You took the joke.
Whatever. I killed the room. Guys, my story killed the room.
Yeah, it really did. So mine was, I just remember the first word that I had trouble spelling in like second or third grade, and it was language. It's got all those U's in there, some G's, some language. And now, as I said earlier, we see how great I am with language.
Okay.
No one says
Okay.
All right.
Nothing.
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 What word?
We're not giving you that.
We've already gave you your question of the day, but still, here's another question for you. What word do you have trouble spelling?
Let us know. Let
us know. Tweet us. ABC News Live. Our thanks to Will. Our thanks to Maggie.
Oh, he's thanking me too.
Yeah, because we're going to see you tomorrow. And guess what? Aren't you glad Maggie really will be back?
O-R.
We'll see you tomorrow.
O-R. It's the O-R-A. O-A-R.